am Lannie Cox. I'm a member of the Greater Houston Church and actually a former staff member of the church. I now work as a clinical mental health counselor. I'm a licensed professional counselor working with people with various mental health issues, both with individuals, couples, and families. And I was talking to our senior minister, Doug Wins, this week just about how these uncertain times are really impacting all of us. Obviously, for many of you that may be listening, you're thinking about how to really react to these uncertain times as a Christian. Maybe if you're watching this video and right now you're not a Christian, you may be saying, hey, okay, if God's there, okay, Christians, tell me how to react. And so one thing I want to first say is, we really do need to acknowledge what we are feeling. That there may be fear, maybe even an anxiety. Perhaps you're feeling depression. There's been a distinct increase in domestic violence, abuse, and several things. We could look at the statistics. They're discouraging. But as people have been sheltering in place, not getting some of those sort of natural breaks in their day, that stress is been coming out in some unhealthy coping patterns. Again, some people who maybe are coping with the uncertainty through substance abuse, maybe through really letting your anger be vented. You may find yourself feeling overwhelmed, maybe ruminating, meditating, thinking a lot about all of the negative things that are going on in life, and actually oftentimes maybe feeling like a victim. But I think, it is tough times for all of us. I've heard a few people even say, hey, we're all in this boat together. We're all in the same boat. Well, I think truthfully, we're all in the same storm, but many of us are in different kinds of boats. Some people's faith may be intact and really helping them. Others, their faith may feel shipwrecked right now. They may feel like the overwhelming circumstances have really taken some pot shots at their face, really tested it, and they're having a little trouble getting out of it. So first and foremost, I think, yes, we are all going through the same storm, but we are not all in the same boat. But for those of you who are looking to God and are Christians, one thing is we do have a boat. No matter what boat we feel like we're in, we do have our faith in God. So let's talk about that for a second. If you've got access to a Bible, I know you may be on your phone right now, but if you've got a paper Bible, if you want to just look at this later, I really want to encourage you to read Acts chapter 8, 1 through 8. These were uncertain times for the early Christian family. Stephen had just been martyred. He shared his faith, he proclaimed Jesus, and he was stoned by the establishment. Paul was there, really giving approval to his death. And a lot of persecution had broken out after that. In fact, if you look at the subheading right there around verse 3 in Acts chapter 8, you're going to see the subheading is the church is persecuted and scattered. How's that for good news on a Sunday? But really, what's really, really powerful is the resilience of the Christians. These were very uncertain times. They were scattered from their city. They were persecuted. And they did some practices that I think really exemplify their resiliency that we can imitate. One is they got connected. Even though they were scattered, when the Bible talks about them, it talks about the disciples. They didn't let themselves stay isolated. They found community wherever they were scattered. Right now, while we're scattered to our homes, people are using technology, their phone, in various ways to stay connected. People are worshiping online. That's been a unique and almost encouraging experience. I hope we'll hold on to a little bit of that after things go back to normal, that we can even plan sometimes to do this electronically. But they found ways to stay connected. And resiliency is not just being stoic, not just being a lone wolf, but resiliency has to do with knowing I need connections. I need to know that people are accepting me. Another thing is accepting the reality. So not only do we need acceptance from others and connection with others, but we also need to accept the facts. Faith always exists alongside facts. Facts of things aren't going so well. facts of illness, facts of, right now, quarantine and less than perfect circumstances, facts that I can't control everything that's happened to me. There's a certain level of accepting things the way they are. Also, I think we need to make the most of every opportunity. Each day, finding some kind of purpose, whether that's connecting with someone, sharing a little bit of your faith. I know a few of us have been challenging each other to find 2 people to pray with and then challenge them to find 2 other people to pray with. That's been very encouraging, just to find purpose, even if I'm stuck at home. That may be buying groceries, or at least picking up groceries for older neighbors and dropping them off and staying socially distant and helping them to feel like they don't have to get out. That may be rolling someone's trash back and forth from the house, maybe writing encouraging notes. I heard of one young lady who was in her neighborhood and actually posted some scriptures that you could tear off and take and just have a scripture that you could grab, and I thought that was a really encouraging idea. But just finding purpose, making the most of every opportunity, as the Bible in Colossians 4 calls us to do. Also, learning from past things. If you think about David, when he faced Goliath, a very uncertain situation, a very challenging situation, you can read there that he actually found his faith because God had gotten him through fighting bears and lions when they had attacked his sheep before. We can actually learn from past faith experiences. Maybe it's something very different than what you're going through now, but you actually can learn from ways that God has come through for you in the past. Finally, I think being proactive. Don't wait. It's amazing. Philip, in that same passage back to Acts 8, he went to a certain community. He was in a certain place, and he proclaimed his faith. He proclaimed the good news of the gospel. He performed miracles. He served. He gave and was a healer in the place where he went. But what really stands out to me about that is he took action. He could have just gone and said, well, I'm just going to hunker in place. I've been persecuted. I don't want to take any chances. I don't want to draw more negative attention to myself. But no, he took action. I can imagine what his prayer times must have been like to be able to find that energy to be proactive. Oftentimes, though, when we're hit with circumstances, we may feel like just sitting back. Let's wait and see. And that probably tends to get us into some of those more negative coping patterns with, feeling like a victim, really going over and over all the bad facts of what's going on. Again, maybe even leaning on substance abuse or other sins that may cause us to feel comfort. But I think taking the reins and saying, I'm going to take action today. I'm going to start with some time with God. I was just talking to some friends earlier today. It's like, hey, even though I've had all this time, prayer has been tough. I need to increase my prayer, my connection to God. I need to get into my Bible. I need to get some discipling about how my character's coming out in negative ways. But I think don't wait. Don't just sit in it and say, well, I'm going to wait until things get better. Be proactive. What's amazing, as you read in Acts chapter 8, verse 8, there's a very simple statement that the Spirit says for us. He said, and basically the city was filled with joy. Wow. Think about Christians being more resilient and responding to these uncertain times in ways that are filled with faith, and how that might bring extra joy to our communities, our neighborhoods, our cities, our churches, and even to the lost. I think let's take some time here to really focus on our resiliency, fight off our anxiety and fear, and really find out both how we can grow as people, we can grow in our perseverance, our character, our faith, and we can also make an impact on those around us. Definitely, if you are feeling extra challenged, this is a great time to reach out to others, to reach out to men and women, trusted people in the church, ministers, other brothers and sisters in the church to get help. Also, a lot of people have found help getting mental health services at this time. There's no shame in that. There are people who've never reached out for mental health services before that I'm talking to these days. So, you can find someone local. There's a lot of online great services that can provide mental health services, very affordable at these times. But don't underestimate the power of getting help from others and making those connections. I hope this was helpful. And again, thanks for tuning in, and hope you are also making an impact to share what you're learning with others in your life.